LaTurner, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Administrator Power, for being here today. Malnutrition is the #1 cause of child deaths globally and is responsible for 3 million child deaths annually. The deadliest form of malnutrition, known as wasting, when the body becomes so starved of nutrients that it begins to consume itself, is responsible for 1 million child deaths each year. For children suffering from wasting, ordinary food alone is not enough to bring them back in many cases. Although life-saving solutions exist, historically, less than 1 in 4 wasted children have access to treatment. Without treatment, many of them will die. Ready-to-use therapeutic food, which the ranking member of the full committee mentioned in her opening statement, or RUTF, a simple medical food paste made of peanuts, powdered milk, vegetable oils, soy, sugar, and multivitamins, is the global standard treatment for severe wasting. Over a 6-week term of treatment with RUTF, children are able to gain weight and be brought back from the edge of death. In 2022, the United States, alongside Canada, Ireland, and the Netherlands, and the UK, and private philanthropy, made a historic commitment to over $500 million to produce and deliver RUTF to treat millions of wasted children. This U.S. leadership increased global RUTF coverage rates in 2023 by over 40%. And for the first time in history, a majority of the world's severely malnourished children had access to these simple life-saving products. So, Administrator, with the remarkable success we've seen over the last 18 months, substantially increasing treatment coverage for millions of children, can you please update us on USAID's plan to maintain scaled-up procurement of American-made RUTF, and tell us what you need from Congress to continue these critical life-saving efforts?
Thank you, and thank you for referencing the effort that we made to leverage what were called the Ukraine supplementals, but because of the flexibility and the humanity of people up here, they were actually written very broadly and had a profound impact on fighting malnutrition and food insecurity in the global south over the last 2 years. So by writing those supplementals broadly, we had additional resources. We then, as you said, made an announcement, issued a challenge that we would use some of those additional resources to make an unprecedented investment in the purchase of RUTF in order to provide that to World Food Program and UNICEF, and then we called on other countries to do the same, and they stepped up with several $100 million worth of commitment. We do not have anything comparable happening this year. The pipeline still from those investments is flowing, which is really important, and we are certainly making significant investments in RUTF for the reasons that you describe, and the reasons that we've been discussing about the number of places that have kids under 5 who need this miracle paste. And credit those American companies who have gotten into this business and are producing at scale. Unfortunately, my answers, I'm a little bit repetitive today, and I don't mean to be, but we need the National Security Supplemental. We just need it. It has in it the resources that would allow us at least to have the same humanitarian budget roughly that we had last year, and even though needs are up because of Sudan and Gaza way more this year, that would allow us to make more substantial investments. One of the things that was really great about the challenge that we issued to other countries to step on RUTF and the big pledge, the unprecedented pledge that you referenced that we made, is that it allowed some of the American companies to get their production cycles going and really to produce at scale, knowing that those purchases were going to be made. The way it's happened, as I understand it, I'm not an expert.
Were you able to see cost reductions as a result of that? Because it's about $1 a day for the
Yes,
treatment.
I mean, I would presume in bulk we should have, but I don't know that. We'd have to get back to you on that. But if we can have some predictability and the infusion of resources that would just keep us flat with last year, we would be in a position again to give that kind of notice to those companies that would allow them to know that there will be a market for the production that they do, because bottlenecks apparently have been a major issue or delayed supply chains when it comes to RUTF in the past.
Currently, there are over 20 U.S. government agencies engaged in our foreign assistance efforts, including USAID, State, MCC, DFC, Treasury, Commerce, Agriculture, Justice, and DHS. While funding decisions are intended to be made by ambassadors at each post, the programming decisions tend to be made here in Washington. What are you doing at USAID to ensure that these efforts are coordinated across agencies and aligned with our national security and diplomatic objectives, like countering the Chinese Communist Party, for example?
Yeah, well, I think, actually, it's a great example. I think the Global Infrastructure Initiative is an example of where the NSC role in coordinating and bringing all those agencies together is extremely important around global infrastructure. USAID's share of that is catalytic. It's often regulatory, or it's, taking our food security programs and making sure that the beneficiaries, for example, can benefit from the Libido Railroad as it gets built. We might do a public-private partnership with the Angolan Ministry of Transportation so that they can get other transportation concessions going. So that's our slice of it, but the DFC might be making the much more substantial investments. So I think the NSC has a critical role to play. I would say Feed the Future, our food security program, is another area where USDA, MCC, DFC, all have, State Department, of course, have active programming. There, I'm the chair of the Feed the Future board, and we bring the other agencies together around our shared agricultural food security agenda, including research investments that we and USDA and others are making domestically to make sure we're benefiting from the best minds of the United States in adapting to changing weather and the like.
I appreciate your answer on that, and I look forward to having further discussions with you specifically about RUTF. 'Cause I
I'd
think-
welcome that.
I know your leadership on that has been great. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.